but to be honest, it's autumn and the leaves are falling off the trees, and it's beginning to get cold here now. The summer is over, and we're approaching the winter.
Oh, so it's gonna get cold. um,
Yes.
the first question that I have for you is you have such a fascinating career, from political cartoons to collaborating with Pink Floyd and Disney. How would you describe your artistic journey in a few words?
Well, it's been lucky. It's been very, very mixed, and I've been privileged to work with some really good people, have exhibitions in very good um, galleries, and also I've worked in the theatre quite a lot with some famous directors, and in the film, of course, and rock and roll, and I've managed to spread my career um, over quite a wide area, and I'm pleased, of course, because when I was a young boy, uh, 89 years ago, the I was an asthmatic. I had asthma. I couldn't breathe very well, and I spent a lot of time in hospitals and in bed. And while I was in bed, I would draw, and drawing became my way of exploring my mind and exploring the world. It became my way of doing that, and it luckily later, when I was about 16 and I began to recover from the asthma, I managed to make a career of my drawing as an artist. Because to be an artist is a very, very insecure job, really. And a lot of artists are brilliant artists, have a difficulty in finding um, somewhere to work, something to do which is useful. So I've been lucky.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm gonna make a quick translation of what you said to our audience. So, él dice que cuando era joven tuvo un problema con el asma y pasaba mucho tiempo en los hospitales. Así que bueno, lo que empezó a hacer es empezó a dibujar, a hacer distintos dibujos y ahí es donde empezó su carrera como dibujante, ¿no? Como cartonista. Y bueno, dice que la vida del artista es bastante complejo, pero bueno, que él de a poquito pudo ir saliendo adelante con su, con su vida artística. Um, let's go back to the beginning. What first inspired you to become an artist?
Well, the fact really, I suppose, that I could not do anything else. My father was in banking, and he wanted me to go into a bank when I became 16, the right age. There was no chance of me going to university because my schooling had been so bad and so absent throughout all those early years. And so I wanted to join, he wanted me, my father, to join a bank, and he arranged various interviews. But when the bank interviewed me, they found that I didn't have the right education to to join a bank. So luckily, I escaped that because I don't want to work in a bank, uh, and so that was my first bit of luck, really. And I had an uncle who had a commercial art studio, and he invited me to join him in the studio because I was at that early age. Everybody told me I was a good artist, but they didn't know what to do with me because there was no art in the family, in my family. There was no history of art. And so um, this uncle took me under his wing, and I learnt in the studio, excuse me, to draw things to sell, commercial art, and that was where I learned really to draw precisely. I could draw anything. I could draw a bicycle, I could draw a car, I could draw shoes, glasses, plates, anything that in those days they used for advertising, because there wasn't a lot of photography at that point. And so that's how I began to draw very precisely.
Excellent. Bueno, él dice que cuando era joven el padre quería que entrara a trabajar en un banco, pero él ya venía con un, digamos, con un nivel artístico bastante importante, pero no sabían qué hacer con él porque en su familia no había historia de artistas. Entonces el tío de él, que tenía un estudio de arte, él fue el que lo ayudó, digamos, a crecer como artista. Thank you so much for your time, sir. I want to talk about Pink Floyd. One of your most iconic collaborations, obviously, was with Pink Floyd. How did you first get involved with them?
Well, the first thing I remember is that one of the group,
¿Me
Nick
puedes activar el audio
Mason.
afuera? Que la gente escuche o no se puede eso. Se va a acoplar. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
The first thing I remember about Pink Floyd was Nick Mason, the drummer, contacting me and saying, would I be interested in working with them? And I knew Pink Floyd, but I wasn't a fan. I didn't follow but they took me somewhere where they played Dark Side of the Moon. And I could see the drama and the theatricality of Dark Side of the Moon, and that attracted me to have that kind of thing on stage with all that amazing power of sound and so forth. And later Roger Waters said that he had seen my work and he had said, we've got to work with this guy, Gerald Scarfe. He's fucking mad. And he liked that idea. So I met them and I started doing animation for them.
Mm-hmm.
And the animation, I said to Roger, what am I going to animate? He said, oh, just animate. We'll make it work. So I would do animations and they would fit them into the concert. The concerts were running at that time, and they would take my little bits of animation and they would decide where it would go alongside the music.
Mm-hmm.
Because Roger's theory was, you put vision alongside sound, and the human mind, the people who were listening to it, would find a reason for it to be there. It wasn't necessarily designed, but they would think that it was, and therefore, and I think he's right. The mind can associate vision and music, even though it wasn't planned together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it very much began. Later on, Roger came to me and said, I've just written this piece called The Wall, and I want to work with you on it. We want to work with it all. And so that's how that came about. And then I started doing a lot of animation. I had a complete animation studio here in London, in Covent Garden. And there we produced all of the things that, the flowers, the hammers, and all of the teacher and the mother and the wife and all of the things that came together. And it all came, I guess, from my mind. Roger's words, of course, were there, but the things you see on screen came from my mind, of course, not from Roger's, because he was a word man and he inspired me. And that's how it began to work.
Excellent. Bueno, él dice que la forma de que llegó a Pink Floyd fue por Nick Mason. Nick Mason vio su trabajo y él lo contactó y después se conectó con Roger Waters. Él estuvo presente, o sea, Gerald estuvo presente en los shows de Dark Side of the Moon. Entonces, cuando se juntaron con Roger Waters, le dijo que participara con su arte en la música, no importara el tipo de arte, porque la gente lo que iba a hacer es con su mente, la gente básicamente, a través de la experiencia individual de cada persona, era conectar las imágenes con la música. Como que no se necesitaba armar algo específico para una canción para que tenga sentido, como que la mente de cada persona iba a hacer una interpretación individual. Y después, bueno, lo llamaron para hacer The Wall y ahí fue donde empezaron a trabajar en el estudio de Covent Garden. Y bueno, ahí empezaron a hacer las animaciones de los martillos, la esposa, el profesor. Así que bueno, un trabajo muy impresionante. Ahora le voy a preguntar cuáles son las primeras impresiones de Roger y la banda. Thank you so much, sir. What are your first impressions of Roger Waters and the band? The first time that you met them.
Well, when I first worked with the band, I dealt really with Nick Mason. But I remember Nick saying to me, "Don't you wait, Roger will take over." And he did. He began to then work with me. And we formed an association together, a friendship. And I used to go to Roger's house to play snooker
Mm.
every week, or maybe twice a week. I would go to Roger's house, and we would have several games of snooker and drink a lot of beer. And we had a strong friendship. And I went on holiday with him skiing. We went skiing in the Alps, and so I spent a lot of time together. And there was a point when they had to leave England
Mm.
for tax reasons,
Mm.
and I was left alone in England handling the kind of animation side and the whole of that. And then they had a big hit, for instance, with "We Don't Need No Education,"
Mm.
and I did the video. I did the video for that. I had to produce this video because Roger telephoned me and said, "This is coming up on Top of the Pops," which was a big show here for
Yeah.
music. And he said, "Can you get a piece of animation together?" Just so I made this animated film Top of the Pops in a week,
No.
which is very fast.
Mm.
And I used a lot of existing material on my animations and so on, and that then, as you know, became a hit. But We Don't Need No Education. So we became great friends, and then he, as I said, came to me one day and said, "I've just written The Wall, and I want you to work with me on that." And then from then on, it was. I produced, we went on to other enterprises like The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking, which was a later album by Roger.
Wow. Awesome. Y bueno, él dice que bueno, obviamente Nick Mason lo presentó a Roger Waters. Roger Waters le dijo que él lo iba a conducir más o menos en el proceso de lo que iban a ser las proyecciones y las animaciones. Tuvieron un problema, la banda Pink Floyd tuvieron problemas con los impuestos y tuvieron que irse de Inglaterra por un tiempo, pero después ellos tuvieron un gran éxito con el tema Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 y bueno, ahí le dijeron a Gerald que trabajara en esa animación y la armó en una semana para presentar esa proyección, o sea, ese video en Top of the Pops, que es un programa muy muy famoso ahí en Inglaterra, así que impresionante. The imagery in the wall, like the marching hammers and grotesque faces, has become legendary. What was your inspiration for those designs?
The marching hammers, excuse me, um, I needed to symbolize the forces of oppression.
Mm.
And of course, I immediately thought of oppressed nations before. And we had, Hitler's Nazi Germany, which was an oppressive thing. And I needed something aggressive
Mm.
and something hard to represent that. And what could be harder, I thought, than a hammer?
Yeah.
A hammer is, cruel. It's one blow. It's cruel. So that was how that started, and then I made the march, and I made it all. That was how that came about. I just needed something to symbolize um, cruelty of that type, and oppression.
Yeah.
The other characters came one by one. The teacher, was the teacher comes from a story by Roger, whose teacher at school was quite cruel and used to hit the boys with a stick,
Yeah.
and Roger, told me that story, and then I invented the teacher,
This one.
his mother. Roger's mother was very influential. Roger's father died in the war, and therefore he missed him terribly. And then the other person who had a huge effect on him was this one particular girlfriend.
Mm.
And so the wife is
The
this
wife.
vicious scorpion of a woman with flaming hair and so forth. So those were some of the things I invented.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. My favorite one is the teacher. It's incredible, and the animation for the best animation. My favorite animation in the whole movie is Goodbye Blue Sky. Is incredible.
Is what? Sorry?
Goodbye Blue Sky.
Oh, Goodbye Blue Sky, yes. Well, that I of course was born in 1936, which was before the war. So here I lived in London, and I was about 4 or 5, I suppose, when the war began, and the bombs began to fall on London. I, of course, was very young, and I didn't realize how dangerous it was, but I felt the fear through my parents, and we used to go down into an air raid shelter under the house. When the air raid siren went, there was a wailing siren, and that would send everybody off the street and into shelters. So, of course, when I got this thing, Goodbye Blue Sky, this poem, this sort of lyric of Rogers, it was perfect for me because I lived through that period.
Yeah.
And then I invented various people, designed other people like the frightened ones, running from, did you hear the falling bombs? And so that was a perfect piece. And I'm glad you picked that because I think that is my favorite piece of animation.
This is awesome.
And it had a lot of work in it too.
Yeah.
A lot of animation,
And I love the blood spill at the end to the
Yes.
sewers. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of truth in
The
there.
waste of life, yes, and the waste of the blood of mankind,
Exactly.
It's still happening everywhere.
Sí. Am, bueno, ahí estuvimos hablando un poquito de las animaciones y de los personajes de The Wall. Cómo nacieron, digamos, el tema de los martillos. Él explica que los martillos representan la opresión. Y bueno, también como que hablaba digamos, países que son más dictadores. Y bueno, hay mucha presencia también de la Alemania nazi también en esa animación. Y después, bueno, habla un poquito también de cómo nacieron los personajes como la esposa, el profesor, la madre. Por ejemplo, el tema del profesor fue una experiencia que tuvo Roger Waters con un profesor que tenía él en la escuela que lo maltrataba. Y después la esposa también, una experiencia que tuvo Roger Waters con esa novia que tenía en particular. Y yo le comentaba después que mi animación favorita fue Goodbye Blue Sky, que él dice también que su animación favorita es Goodbye Blue Sky y que está basada en experiencias vividas por él, por Gerald, en la Segunda Guerra Mundial. Él decía que cuando era chico en Inglaterra iban a esconderse a los refugios antibombas, así que muy importante lo que nos ha contado, así que it's a true honor, sir, that you're here and everybody's enjoying this interview. So, next question is: many fans were surprised by your work for Disney Hercules. How did that collaboration came about? Vamos a hablar un poquito de Disney,
Well,
Marcos.
as a lonely child sitting in my sick bed, um, as I told you, I drew a lot. But my favorite artist at that time was Walt Disney.
Mm,
And Walt Disney made these wonderful films, Pinocchio, uh, Seven, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and all of that genre, the early Disney. So I was always a great Disney fan. And to my surprise, one day a guy from Disney said he was a fan. Could he come and see me in my house and talk about my work? And I said, yes, of course. And when I came, I thought, this guy, he's scouting me out. He's trying to find out, would I be interested? And he asked me, would you be interested in working with Disney? And I said, you bet. And although it was kind of people find it strange that I, with my angry, vicious work, should want to work with Disney. To me, it's perfectly normal because uh, I have all forms of work really. I have even worked on Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker and the Magic Flute by Mozart. All of
mm,
these things because it's exploring my career and exploring my feelings about everything.
mhm,
Um, so when they got me to work for Disney, and so they flew me out to Los Angeles, and we talked about it, and they said just send stuff, just send drawings and so on. I began to do that, and I was really inspired by the idea of Hercules because I've always been a great fan also of Greek art.
mm,
So it was a perfect match, really. I um, I love the Greek mythological stories, and I love the Greek archaic art, and so it's a perfect job. Also, working with Disney was very high powered.
mm,
And after a while, after being working there for uh, a couple of months, they made me then production manager. I wasn't production manager originally, but when they started to use so many of my designs,
Mm.
they thought it was correct that they should use me as production designer, which is what happened.
Excellent. Um, I was a true surprise for me. I saw the movie obviously, and it was amazing. And it's clearly notable that it's your style, your drawings. So it was like I was pretty amazed, and obviously I love the movie. It's amazing.
Good. I
Bueno, él
mean,
dice que cuando él entró a trabajar con Disney, desde muy chico él era muy fanático de Walt Disney y que, bueno, le gustaba hacer dibujos cuando él era más joven. Y bueno, cuando se le dio la oportunidad, también él me comenta que es muy fanático también del arte de mitología. Así que fue el trabajo para hacer Hércules fue perfecto para él. Así que mezclar su arte con esta película. Um, what was it like adapting your darkest satirical style to a more family-friendly Disney production?
well, it was interesting because the Disney artists are amazing. They can, with just a drawing, express hatred, unrequited love, all the emotions you can imagine, all with just line, which moves. You put one drawing after the other one, after the other one, and you have this amazing animation. Now, what happened, I guess, in Disney when I was working there were a lot of artists, naturally, to produce anything of that size. And some of them could handle my style, others could not handle my style.
Mm.
And they fell back to doing the usual Walt Disney house style, the style they knew, the Disney style. They were happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it couldn't always reach my style. But nevertheless, everybody kind of tried. I think they were very, very kind to me there. They treated me like a grand old man, and I therefore, had a lot of support from all of them. But some of them just couldn't do it. They could not achieve my style, but others could. And those that could did it brilliantly. The guy who did Hades, I always designed as made of fire. He comes from the underworld, and that is the world of fire. So his inspiration for me was that he should be like flame, so that when he was cool and calculating, he would just be like a little blue flame flickering like that. But when he got angry, he would explode into flame, and that he expressed himself through flame. So those were the those were the things that I came across well. Others were my fault. When it came to the girl Meg, I found it difficult to draw Meg. I sometimes find it difficult to draw women, and Meg was one of the characters I needed a lot of help of.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy who did that was brilliant, and one of their top artists. So it was a wonderful experience. Lasted over several years, as you can imagine, and I had a lovely time now.
Excellent. Awesome. Sí, él dice que él cuenta un poquito de las personas que trabajaban en Disney, con los caricaturistas, y algunos decían que algunos caricaturistas podían manejar el arte de él y otros que les costaba mucho más. Porque ellos ya están acostumbrados a dibujar de una manera en particular en Disney y que dice que son muy buenos haciendo expresiones. Cuando tienen que mostrar a un personaje feliz, lo muestran feliz, con odio, lo muestran con odio. Y habló un poquito también de los personajes, habló un poco del Hades, que él lo representaba con llamas, azules cuando estaba tranquilo y cuando se ponía enojado se ponía rojo, digamos. Así que dice que fue una experiencia muy, muy linda y bueno, algo que realmente le cambió la vida, ¿no? Let's talk about today. How do you choose your subjects today? Has your view of the world changed over time?
Uh, I choose my subjects today. I've more or less. I worked at the London Sunday Times for 50 years,
Mm.
and so I drew most of the politicians then. I felt, that I'd had enough of that, just, drawing politicians, because I think a lot of politicians are very thick-skinned and they enjoy being drawn. They
Mm.
like being drawn because they become famous
Yeah.
if they have a caricature. Uh, so in a way, I was helping their career. I
Yeah.
make them into a caricature and they like it. And was opposite of what I wanted to intend, really.
Mm.
And so I don't do that anymore. What I am doing now is very large private paintings.
Mm.
I have a bar here in London named after me in the Rosewood Hotels. It's a huge group from China to the States. It started in the States, Rosewood Hotels. And in one of these hotels in London, there is a bar called Scarfe's Bar,
Mm.
and it has all my drawings on the wall there,
Wow.
And a lot of Americans go there, and a lot of people from all over the world go there naturally. And they then ask me, can they have drawings, paintings, because they're oil paintings or acrylic paintings, can they have those for their houses or for various places?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so through them, I am doing a different type of work now. I am doing very, very large paintings. Um, and even this morning, I have got a guy coming here to look at one that I've done of the marching hammers.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another guy coming later today to see something else. So I'm doing paintings, oil and acrylic paintings, and my pen and ink work that I used for animation and the wall and all of that, I do less of. And political cartooning, I have kind of put to one side
Okay.
because I very much enjoy this period now when I'm able to draw. Um, There's a guy in Canada recently who wanted all of the great scientists uh, painted,
Mm-hmm.
in my style. And there is, there are so many of them, I can't remember, but they, they're all um, commissioned
Mm-hmm.
by people,
Awesome.
and all over Europe and the States especially.
Excellent.
So that's really what I'm doing now. That's my up-to-date job,
That's
and
wonderful.
I'm still working. I
Okay.
work with my son, who's also an artist. He's
David.
David. Yes,
David, yeah.
his David's name is Alex. Really, he
Alex.
uses that name,
Okay.
but his name is Alex,
Okay.
and we work together on these paintings, which go out all over the world, and he helps me by projecting the images onto the canvas. I then draw them, then he'll help me with this, that, and then maybe doing backgrounds and things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very nice to be working with my son too
Awesome.
at this point in my life.
That's great.
Yeah. So
Can you tell
it,
us the name of the hotel, the change, the what was the name where your paintings are excavated?
it's called the Rosewood Hotel
Rosewood Hotel.
uh,
Okay.
in London, High Holborn, which is the name of the street. The name of
Okay.
the road is High Holborn,
Okay.
and Holborn is spelt Holbourne.
Mm, ok.
Holborn.
Ok,
Um, and that's been there now for 10 or 11 years, I think.
wow.
11 years. And there again, they just asked me, would you do this? Would you paint the walls of a hotel bar? And luckily, it's become very famous, and it's now, uh, I think, 43rd in the top hotels in the world.
Wow,
So
awesome.
it's
Bueno,
good.
la verdad que maravilloso lo que me acaba de contar. Le pregunté qué es lo que está haciendo hoy en la actualidad y bueno, él me decía que estaba haciendo pinturas para, o sea, trabajó mucho tiempo en el diario y dibujaba a distintos políticos muy famosos, pero como que no le gustaba eso porque los políticos se inflaban con el ego y los hacía famosos con los dibujos. Entonces como que dejó ese trabajo lo dejó y ahora hace más de 11 años que está trabajando en un lugar, una cadena de hoteles que se llama Rosewood Hotel y ahí lo que se hace en esa cadena de hoteles ahí es donde exhiben sus pinturas, digamos, sus trabajos en Disney, con Pink Floyd, con todo lo que él ha estado haciendo, y los vende, digamos. Y trabaja también con su hijo, que se llama Alex. Y bueno, la gente le pide por ahí de distintas partes del mundo que le dibujen cosas de The Wall, de distintas cosas, y él los hace las pinturas. Y eso lo pueden conseguir, yo lo he estado viendo y lo pueden conseguir en Instagram. En Instagram hay muchas fotos, muchos videos de eso que está haciendo actualmente. Well, this is gonna be one of the last questions of this interview. Once again, thank you for your time, sir. In today's digital age, with AI and social media, how do you see the future of traditional illustration and caricature?
Well, it is a big revolution that's going on. I myself am not even computer literate. I do not use the computer. My son, as you saw, set the interview up this morning,
Mm-hmm.
David Alex, and so I don't use it myself. And my great philosophy is about painting. Unlike music, when you see a painting in a gallery, it's the real thing that artist touched.
Mm.
If it's Picasso, Picasso painted that, and you can look at it and you can touch it. If it's a symphony by Mozart or something, he wrote it, but it's being played by other people, not by him, not by, it's not a direct thing. So that I always love the idea that, an artist's work is done by that artist alone, allegedly.
Mm.
And so I don't know what AI means. I mean, I don't think any of us quite know at the moment how far it's going to go.
Mm.
But paintings being produced by AI, of course they're going to happen. Of course people are going to do it. And you can do anything you want to, I guess. You can do any amalgamation of styles or whatever. But I'm glad I lived in the age where, you know, you see the painting, that's the one that Toulouse-Lautrec or Degas or whoever, Velasquez, painted that, that's the one.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a real thing. It's a real McCoy.
Exactly. Él dice que, bueno, la pregunta que le hice sobre el tema de la inteligencia artificial, que qué opinaba él sobre las redes sociales, la inteligencia artificial, sobre el arte de hoy. Y él nos dice que la inteligencia artificial no sabemos hasta dónde puede llegar, pero que dice que cuando vos ves un Picasso, ves alguna pintura de Esquer, por ejemplo, la persona que vos vas al museo y ves la pintura y la la tocas o te acercas, vos ves que es el autor real que hizo esa pintura. Entonces como que él es más de esa época, de cuando las cosas eran hechas por humanos y reales. Así que esa es su opinión al respecto. Well, thank you so much for everything, sir. I would like to invite you to our audience because this is obviously recorded, and then we're gonna make some editing on this video. Can you invite the audience to watch this interview? The name of the channel is Pablo Sanchez, the Art and Wine Channel.
Okay, okay. Maybe you could you that email that to David?
It's like if you can say, hi, my name is Gerald Scarfe, and you're watching
Yes.
Pablo Sanchez, the Art and Wine Channel.
I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay.
You want me to say that now?
Yes.
Yes. Uh, I, hi, I am Gerald Scarfe, the artist, and I am watching the brilliant Pablo Sanchez, and we've had a very nice, friendly interview. Please listen to it.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, thank you so much for everything. It's been amazing. I would like to thank Sonos Live Radio Streaming Studio and my good friend Marcos and Nacho, which is here also, and
Thanks,
helping
guys.
us. He's saying hi. Dice que los saluda.
Thanks.
And thanks, obviously, to Alex, your son. He's been amazing, and is a for me is a true honor because obviously since I was a little kid, I was a huge fan. I am still a huge fan of Pink Floyd, and obviously I love your animations and your art is like amazing. And
Thank you.
thank you so much for everything.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Okay. All success.
okay, thank you so much. Have a good day.
Okay. Bye. Oh, here's Alex. He's going to say goodbye.
Okay, Alex.
Bye.
Alex,
No
thank you.
problem. Pleasure. I hope it was a good interview. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much.
No
Okay.
problem. Bye bye. Cheers.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
¿Ya?